Hello and welcome to A Little Crafting. My name is Annie and this is my not so frequent podcast where I talk about all the things that I've been making. Usually that consists of knitting, sewing, weaving, yarn dyeing or spinning. So all the fibre arts. And today is the 1st of August, so it's been quite some time since I last recorded. Not that long since I published an episode though, because I did have a holiday in between and I only managed to edit the video after I got back. So yeah, my husband and I were in Chamonix in France for the Climbing World Cup, because we're quite keen climbers and we do watch the sport as well, and there's lots of people who climb but don't watch it, but we are avid followers of kind of the best in the world at sport climbing, bouldering and speed climbing. So we were there because we missed out on going to the Olympics, so we had a lovely week over in France doing some outdoor climbing at the same time, and had a really good mix of relaxation and activity. I think it was the perfect mix, and of course ate lots of good food as well. I've gone on a bit of a ramble, so if you would like to follow me on social media, I am a_little_crafting on Instagram and Ankiwoo on Ravelry. And let's get started with what I've actually been making. So I'm not wearing anything today that is handmade or knitted because it is once again absolutely boiling. It's not actually as high in temperature here in the UK as it was a couple of weeks ago when we hit, I think, 36 or 37 here, but it is very, very humid. So I'm quite happy to have wet hair right now. It's definitely cooling me down a little bit. And there is no way I am wearing any knitwear right now. I was trying to force myself to spin yesterday. My hands were getting very, very clammy very fast. So it is not the weather for wool right now, basically. But fingers crossed everything will cool down a bit soon. We'll have some rain and things will be a bit better in terms of the temperature. And my garden is not looking very happy right now because of the lack of rain, so I'm wishing for rain at the moment. Hasn't rained in quite some time. So yes, finished objects. So the first one I'm going to show is another one of my own pattern, which is a hat. It is going to be called the Three Ridges hat, and this one is made with a strand of fingering weight yarn, which is my own hand dyed yarn, and a strand of suri silk alpaca, which is super lovely and soft. I'm not even going to put it near my face at the moment though. I was testing this out for a slightly different style of brim, so this is a double brim, and also a larger size, because I had knit 2 so far, so this one and one just with fingering weight yarn held double, this, and they're both in what will be the small adult size, so this will be the medium size. And I am in love with this yarn combo. It is absolutely beautiful. The suri alpaca is a yarn from Fibre Fox, and if I remember correctly I think it's called Strawberry Lemonade. But I'll double check and I'll pop it down in the description below so you can check up on that. But yeah, absolutely beautiful colour combo. I'm now thinking about what I do with the rest of the suri alpaca silk. I think I've got another skein of this yarn that I hand dyed, so I will probably grab one of those and make something else with it, but I'm not sure what. Any ideas, give me a shout. So yeah, that is FO number 1. Number 2 is something that I did promise on the last episode that I would finish, and that is my Zorzal shawl. So I'm going to try and show you yeah, there you go, that's a good picture of how it looks. It is quite a lot bigger than I can show on the camera. But this is the Zorzal shawl by Lisa Hannes. It is knit out of 2 colours of Mr. B's yarns, which is now Bird Street yarn. The orange is Mutend, and the grey with the speckles is a Just Rust. And I'm really looking forward to wearing this in the autumn when it's going to be perfect for that temperature, and really great autumnal colours as well. And I really did enjoy knitting this, although it does get very, very long at the end. It's a crescent shape, as you can tell, and crescent shapes do suit me. So what I would normally do is probably gather it up here like this, pull it out a bit just so that you've got several of the sections showing, or you can also wear it like a traditional shawl like this. And then sometimes I will actually make it into a sort of top, so tie it up around the back. Yeah, and then I will swiftly take it off. But you get the idea. So yeah, very much looking forward to the autumn when I can actually wear this properly. So it does have sections, these kind of wedges of colour. So the top one is where you start here, and then you increase out in this stripe section. Then you do a kind of wedge in one colour, which is this one. Wedge in the other colour, which I'm not going to be able to fully show because it won't fit on screen, and then a stripe section at the bottom that goes all the way along. And I do think it's a really cool way of putting together a shawl like this with 2 different skeins of fingering weight yarn, and I almost ran out, so my aim was to try and use up as much yarn as possible. In the sample, Lisa Hannes actually has tassels on the end here, so I've got enough to make a couple of tassels basically, and then maybe add them to a scrap blanket. The other 2 tiny balls of yarn that I've got left. So yeah, really good use of a full skein or 2 full skeins of yarn to make a lovely shawl like this. So yeah, highly recommend the pattern if you're after something quite simple and yet challenging enough, is how I would describe it. So there's something to think about, but not too much to think about in this pattern as you're knitting it. And it looks great with that colour combo. And I have washed and blocked this, although I didn't block it very aggressively because I don't actually have enough pins for the entirety of this shawl. It is quite large, but I would knit this again, maybe not straight away because I was getting a bit bored at the end, but one day definitely to have this lovely finished object and the joy of knitting it. So yeah, that's FO number 2. So for once I actually have some reasonable finished objects to show you. So moving on to works in progress, and I mentioned in my last episode that I was going to cast on a new top, and that one is the Beachcombe. And the Beachcombe is quite a simple top. It's kind of a square. It's worked from the bottom up, and it has some herringbone detail both on the bottom edge and also on, I think, the collar, and then it has a contrast around the collar as well. So I grabbed some of my Mr. B's yarns again because I have quite a lot of it, in this wonderful colour. This is the Hiddleston 4-ply, and it's in Hunter, which is the perfect foresty green. I guess it's supposed to be Hunter green, right? But it's absolutely beautiful. So I have 2 skeins of this. I think I've got 3 just in case I needed extra, but I doubt I will. It's not a very big top. And then for the contrast, I've got this one, which is silver birch. It has these little specks of green in, lighter green, but I thought it would go really nicely as a contrast for that top. So I'm going to try and show you where I am, but it does curl quite a lot, so let me see if I can spread it out enough. Something that I found really annoying with herringbone is it looks lovely, but it curls over so much when you're knitting it. I think more so than stockinette does. So let me see if this works. Ooh. There you go, you can kind of see the effect there. So yeah, you've got this herringbone edge, and then I've knit a few rows of the stockinette so far, about an inch and a half. So I haven't done very much knitting. I actually spent most of my time knitting the hat when I was in France, because it was really easy to transport with me and sit on the floor in front of the climbing wall. So yeah, I am loving the process of this. It's really lovely to knit. It's nice and straightforward. The yarn is beautiful, and it has this really interesting edge detail on the side. So ooh, I don't know if you can see that too well. I don't think it's going to show, but yeah, basically you have a line up the side and some slip stitches either side, but slipping with the yarn in front, so you get a kind of line. It looks really pretty. Let me try it again. There you go. Yeah, you can kind of see it between my stitch markers there. There you go. So yeah, either side of the top there'll be that detail all the way up. Excuse me, itchy nose. So yeah, that's where I am with that and enjoying it. I am kind of kicking myself because I'm doing another bottom up top, and in general I don't really enjoy bottom up. I find it a bit laborious to then get to the interesting part, which is going to be the top section with the sleeves, or the lack of for this one. So yeah, I'm also knitting the Weekender by Andrea Mowry. Obviously not at the moment because it's so warm, but I would really like to knit a super speedy top down sweater very soon. So let's see what I can manage in terms of, or what I can allow myself to cast on, I suppose, and see. I don't think this will take me too long, this top, especially at the moment because I want to wear it. So I'm kind of pushing myself to carry on, and I've knit quite a bit for the amount of time that I've actually had to spend knitting. So yeah, I'm hoping this will be done pretty soon and I'll be able to show you at least a bit more anyway in the next 2 weeks. This is in my Clara Rose crafts bag, which is a Marauders map bag. I show this one a lot. I love having the handles, and Clara Rose is a great creator on Etsy, if you want to go and take a look. That is all the knitting content I have, but I have been doing some spinning. So I mentioned last time that I was trying to do Tour de Fleece, and that I was spinning up some BFL Oatmeal, which I'd got from World of Wool. And I have completed that spin. So I had 200 grams. I haven't actually weighed this yet, but I've ended up with 1 big skein and 2 minis because I hadn't put even amounts on each bobbin basically, so I had to reorganise my yarn and do the plying of the other bits separately. So yeah, I think I am getting better. There are some thick and thin bits. I think it kind of adds to the effect of hand spun yarn. Yeah, I do really like this. It's quite soft as well. It's not very coarse, and I have given this a good bath and let it dry out, whacked it a few times, and it smells so sheepy. So absolutely beautiful BFL yarn. I am finding that I am overspinning in some places and underspinning in others, so I guess I'll get better at that consistency as I go along. But I'm still enjoying spinning, so that was finished quite a while ago. And I did mention that I would like to do the grow shawl, or knit the grow shawl with this, but I don't think I'll have enough, especially because I had to kind of separate things out. And I think I have about 10 grams of this fibre left in another kit, so I think I'll need a lot more for that grow shawl. I'll have to double check, especially with the thick and thin element. I can't really tell how much yardage I have, so this will be something. I might make a smaller shawl, maybe like a simple triangular shawl with it, to just get an idea of what it's like to knit with my own hand spun. But that is how it looks at the moment. Really natural, this lovely oatmeal BFL. So that is that. And then I have also been spinning some of the John Arbon fibre that I actually found in my drawer that I'd ordered some time ago. Not the stuff that I bought, because I couldn't find the stuff that was in the drawer. So I have been spinning up this Appledore top, which is called Sweet Copain. And it is 40% Devon Clotheswool, 40% Romney, and 20% Exmoor Blueface. And this one is all these lovely pinks with smatterings of green. Really beautiful there. Again, not sure what to do with this. It is quite coarse, I would say. And again, I'm getting much more consistent with this one. Lastly, because my battery is flashing at me, I will just share quickly an acquisition. So whilst we were in Chamonix, I did manage to get some yarn. This is actually hand spun. It is 50% wool and 50% alpaca. And I think it's going to be a chunky. So I'll probably knit a hat or something with that. But yeah, I don't have any other acquisitions or anything else, so I'll take the opportunity to say thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing your comments about what I've shown today. Please do like and subscribe if you can. Have a lovely crafty time. Bye!